Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Anybody ever encountered any weird people while exploring? I've got a creepy story and shitty drawing to go with it. Me and my friend exploring woods in our town. Probably 13 years old or so. Northern NJ woods are full of interesting abandoned shit. Following train tracks down a small forested mountain finds us at the base of two drainage tunnels. One with a foot of water in it, one dry. Can't see the end of the dry tunnel but want to see how far it goes. Make a torch by wrapping dry river grass around a stick and light it. Duck down and begin making our way down the tunnel, him in front with the torch, me behind. Eventually we are overcome by smoke from the torch, so he smashes it and we run on. See light and make it to a large, round, vertical concrete room about 50 or 60 feet tall from memory. Light from an opening at the top and a rebar ladder leading up to it. Decide to make our exit up it. Notice another small tunnel partly up the ladder. As we approach it, my friend stops and looks in it. After a pause he yells, "Fuck, go," and climbs faster than I've ever seen anyone climb. As I pass the tunnel I take a quick peek and see from a dim light source, a hobo crawling towards me over a pile of bedding trash. Adrenaline takes over and I climb for my life. As I reach the top, my friend is already out of the opening. Begin to crawl out the top when my feet slip off of one of the rungs of the ladder and I grab the edge of the concrete and my legs are dangling down the hole. Friend grabs my arms and helps me out and we take off running. The bum never followed us, so I don't know if he even tried to make his way up the ladder, but just the thought of him climbing after me creeps me out. Local legends of the kids in town at the time say he was violent, but of course there was no solid proof. I go hiking with my girlfriend on this mountain nowadays and show her all the creepy shit we used to explore as kids. Enjoy my shitty diagram of the tunnels.
Very large property in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Right down by the river by the Nyes. I have to cover the whole thing myself and the radio never works because I go underground and shit a lot. One part of the property is the oldest church in the state. Very small, very old, has a lot of unexplained alarms and open doors. I am quick and the cops are quick and we never find any trace of intruders. Always just the alarm and the open doors. Church is not directly related to the rest of the story. I found out there is maybe a way to get under the church. There is a modern tunnel running under the building behind the church. The tunnel has a small hatch set into the wall about the size of a XXL pizza box. There is nothing else in the tunnel. Whole place is painted white and very well lit. I am not banned from opening this hatch, but it isn't really on my rounds. I decide to open the damn door. Dark. I can see a mound of dirt in a space that seems very, very large. I do not mean like out of space and time large, just probably bigger than a 2-bedroom house, but I cannot really see the other side of it, just this pile of brown dirt. I know this goes in the direction of the church and from there right down to the caves by the river. I hear something in there. I close the hatch and shiver and sort of start skipping that part of my rounds for a few weeks. New employee gets hired. I decide to show them the hatch, tell them they have to crawl in there, and see what happens. Okay, here is a flashlight. I will be back in an hour and I have to close the hatch while you go in. Smart person totally declines and is clearly terrified. Probably of me. Since my plan failed, I must now figure this shit out for myself. Wait a week. Lots of activity going on at the church and alarms and shit. Old church. No marked cemetery or graves. Maybe they got moved? Nope. I open the hatch. Power goes out in my beautiful well-lit hallway. I hear the noise. Tell myself it is a rat. It is not a rat because rats don't growl. Smell some trash shit or something. Sweating and panicking now. I can't even move to check my radio. I am so scared. Lights in hall flicker just a tiny fucking bit. I see nothing but the same old dirt in the hatch. Slam hatch and secure. Turn and look down to the end of the long hallway in the direction that I do not want to go anymore. I want to go home or hide in the command center. I see the fucking ghoul head of dog, crouched over, looking at me. It ducks back around corner. I did a lot of drugs for weeks after that. Drank a lot. Never told anyone. Carry a gun at night now and no longer live in the Midwest or really go outside after dark or anywhere near old churches or shit.
I remember an old friend told me this story years ago, so I'm bound to forget some details here and there, but here goes. Befriend, about 11 or 12. Family going on a road trip. During one segment of the trip they have to go through this long tunnel, quite a few lights in the tunnel spaced at every 5 or so meters, so you didn't necessarily have to have your lights on. At the time, some of the lights in the tunnel didn't work, only 1 or 2 here and there, so it wasn't a big deal. As they approached one of the lights that didn't work, my friend noticed something. There's something clinging on the wall next to one of the lights that isn't working. Looks humanoid, about the size of a small child, with a slightly oversized head, and it blends into the darkness. Friend pulls up his old phone to try and take a picture of it. Despite him having not touched it the entire trip, it has no battery. As they pass by it, it turns its head almost 180 degrees and looks at him. When they exit the tunnel, he checks his phone again and it has very low charge.
Be me, 15 at the time. There's this storm drain sewer nearby my house that I've always wanted to check out. Live in a pretty nice area, so figure it wouldn't be too bad. Scout out the beginning of the tunnel the day before and notice a ton of graffiti. At the start it's just edgy teen stuff, but farther in there's some weird shit like entire fucking creepy poems in graffiti written on the walls. But really, just chalk it down to some dumb-ass teens and set everything up for tomorrow. Go in the middle of the day, maybe 1 or 2 p.m., with a flashlight. Walk through tunnels for what seems like 30 to 45 minutes. The tunnels just go on and on and on and fucking on. Most sections look the same, with some areas with multiple tunnels branching off. Other areas with big pools at the bottom and walkways to the side. Should go without saying, but it smells fucking awful. Notice a pentagram in graffiti pretty deep in the sewer. Don't think much of it, but kinda strange how there's graffiti this far in. I planned on walking till I hit multiple paths with dead ends or somewhere where I could get out on the other side. Looking back, that was a pretty shit plan. Going down this one really long tunnel. Flashlight goes out. It's fucking pitch black and I don't remember where I came from. Fuck.jpg. Start retracing my steps down the tunnel. Hear footsteps and then a loud as fuck scream that echoed down the tunnel, hurting my ears. Fuck.gif. If you haven't already guessed, I was a pretty fearless kid, but I was bawling my eyes out while I tried to find wherever the fuck I came from. Full on sprinting, trying not to trip in this piss water. I keep running down towards dead ends, going the wrong way and getting lost. Really should have marked my path, but I couldn't see shit, so it didn't matter anyways. Decide to take a quick breather at a tunnel that seemed familiar. Feel a hand on my shoulder firmly grasp me. SonicSpeed.gif. Barrel down the tunnels just hoping I'm going the right way. Getting out took way longer than I expected because I couldn't find any natural light. After what seems like another 30 minutes of blindly shuffling out from tunnel to tunnel, I reach the end. It's pitch black outside. I walked back to my house and my parents were furious with me. I was gone for 8 hours without saying anything. WTF. JPEG. I just told them I was at a friend's house since it was easier than saying what I actually did. I swear it seriously just felt like 2 or 3 hours at most. Never go back to the sewers again. I haven't told anyone that story before because they probably just wouldn't believe me. That sewer is less than 2 minutes away from my house and I can still see it from my bedroom. Whenever I walk by it I still get chills. I don't know what the fuck lies in those sewers and honestly I don't want to know.
I live in a shitty place in California, called Randsburg. Lots of abandoned mines and shit nearby home and live in a bumfuck nowhere desert with nothing really to do. Go alone to mine cause family always drunk and don't give a fuck where I go. In the mine I notice how clean it is most usually with graffiti and beer bottles along with the usual heroin needle. I'm able to see my light hitting something, but it's black like legit void. The light hitting it just goes nowhere and it's outlining a person. I know caves can make you hallucinate because of all the gases and along with that I barely get any sleep so it's definitely a hallucination. I went home and just made a shitty gas mask using a tutorial on YouTube and I went back to mine. Further in, I am able to find old mining equipment like pioneer type shit. While I'm looking I see a person in regular clothes phase through the cave walls and walk across into another wall. I shit myself and ran out. I came back the next day, but this time I snorted some Molly, so I'm ready for the day and I'm hyped. At the end of the tunnel, before it just gets to tons of drop-offs, I find a fuck ton of scholarly books, like medical shit and texts on surgery. The story really isn't scary, but it's just weird how hundreds of thousands of books like that can end up in this shithole, and it's not the first time I've seen weird shit in mines like that. I've even found Native American stuff before.
So I've got a creepy story for you guys on X. This happened to me fairly recently so I can recall quite a lot of details. Be me. Be 20 years old. Live in the UK. Going through life without a purpose. Don't have a full-time job. I'm lying in bed awake, depressed and shit. Decide to go on a walk around my town at 1 AM. Head on out. Skip to roughly an hour into the walk. Be contemplating my shit life and thinking about past memories. Notice a tunnel off to the side of the pavement. Go have a look. As I'm walking over I get really weird vibes of feelings. Like anxiety and paranoia. I'm around 10 feet away from the entrance of the tunnel. There's a light on in the tunnel but it's flickering slightly. Catch a whiff of piss and damp coming from inside the tunnel. Paranoia intensifies. WTF am I doing, I think to myself. Standing in the entrance of the tunnel. Notice how quiet everything is. It's like somebody pressed mute on all sound around me. Light keeps flickering. Okay, fuck this shit, I'm out. Go to turn around. Don't leave, I suddenly hear a voice say in my head. Hit with sudden extreme feelings of pure fear and fight, flight. Instantly turn around to face the tunnel. I swear I fucking see something standing further down in the tunnel. Light is flickering so can't get full focus on whatever this thing is. But can see this thing is insanely tall and has fucking really long thin arms. They appear to be leaning, crouching. I'm 6'3" and this fucker appears to be a good 1 foot taller even when crouching. Fuck this. Turn and start fucking booking it. Usain Bolt running mode engaged. Felt like I was running for ages. Eventually made it back home. Now here comes the really fucked up part. A few days later I went to try find this tunnel with 2 mates of mine. Go to the area I thought it was. No tunnel to be found. We fucking looked around for an hour but couldn't find a trace of anything.
South England. There's this old World War II era fort a few towns over from me. Had barracks, storage, shit like that. People probably died or some shit like that. Is a museum of sorts now. Pretty cool stuff if you're into that sort of thing. Be 8 or 9. Be on a school trip to the fort. Given a tour of the place for a while. After the tour ends we have lunch. Lunch is over, we get to explore the fort for a while, with an adult of course, because we're children. I am with a group who want to explore the tunnels. Tunnels span around the perimeter of the fort, leading to various storage rooms, outposts and barracks. Feel incredibly uneasy the whole time. The tunnels are only wide enough to fit one person at a time. No idea why they made these tunnels so fucking short. Maybe I felt uneasy because of the tight space. It's hard to tell. I've never had any issues with claustrophobia. We come across some barracks, which are fenced off to stop you getting into them. Full of beds and shit. The fence is just there to stop people from ruining everything. I look into that room and it doesn't feel empty. It feels like there's a presence inside it, like I should be looking at a bunch of people. It doesn't bother me. I have no idea why, I just accept it. Some time passes. We're walking through another part of the fort. This one goes far underground. About 100 steps to reach the bottom of this tunnel. At the bottom it's just a massive black tunnel. Can't see anything except the occasional bit of light from a window. Window is just a hole in the wall. No idea what the tunnel's purpose is, was probably underground storage. The idiots in my group want to walk through the tunnel. Dark doesn't bother me, but it seems like a dumb idea. This was pre-iPhone era, so nobody would have a good enough light on their phone to be able to see anything as we walked through. As we walk through I feel like I'm being followed. The tunnel feels incredibly wrong, like we shouldn't be here. Cling to the adult who's with our group. Ask everyone if we can leave. Nobody wants to, they just want to explore more. I don't bother to complain, I just wait until they get bored and want to go back. Pretty underwhelming story, but those tunnels were scary as fuck. Especially being a literal child.
Be me, 21. Living alone in Cambridge in UK. Worked for me uncle in East London, so I got back home pretty late. I could sleep at his house, or another incident made me feel safer back in camps. Getting back from work in midwinter. Gotta go through some sort of underpass below a roundabout. Underpass has some sort of small green open air area in it. While crossing I hear a woman talking. See a 25-ish woman in one of the 4 tunnels that connect the underpass. Ask her what she needs from me. She runs up to me and grab my face. Her eyes are weird, sorta bloodshot, but couldn't see the capillaries, like it was uniformly red around the iris. She kept saying stuff in what sounded to be Czech or Slovak. Tell her I don't understand and she should call the cops if she needs help. Try to get to the tunnel I take to get home, but I have that weird as fuck feeling as I try to cross. My ears ringed a bit. Back to the first tunnel I took. Chick is in the middle waving at me. Stay put and take a better look at her. Hands and arms too long for her height. Face too elongated. I turn around and decide to cross the road instead. I still hear her voice in my back creeping in. Just walk up the stairs. Street is empty even though it was busy with cars. Take a look at the time. I got there around 10:30 p.m. Phone and watch say it's past 3 a.m. Nose is bleeding a bit and it's not from the cold. Never took the fucking underpass ever again. I don't know what that woman was or how I spent that much time in there, but since then I scared shitless of that place and underpasses in general.
Hey X, I have a story to tell you. I want to know if there's anybody who could possibly explain what happened. I'm not posting personal info here, and I honestly don't care if you don't believe me. Here goes. I work and live in San Antonio. Don't own a car, use a bus. Walk with 3 guys every day to the bus stop. About 3/4 of a mile away. Always walk by this group of tunnels in a ditch. 4 of them, 2 facing the highway, 2 facing away. I want to go to them but the 2 guys I walk with don't let me, too scared of homeless people and shit. One day they are both off. Let's do this. Explore 2 tunnels facing the highway. Pretty short, I can see the end. Very low ceiling, have to crouch. Just leads to the other side of the highway. I don't know what I expected. Same with other one. Nothing weird inside, just normal graffiti. Exit. Decide to go to other tunnels. Right hand one has a weird smell coming from inside. Walk 2 to 3 yards in, the smell gets worse. Fuck this. JPG. Let's explore another one. Walk in. Graffiti is still there but is gone after a few minutes. Really dark inside. Can't see any light. Ground starts to become covered in glass, dirt etc. using a flashlight to see. Eventually a thin layer of water appears on the ground. I should mention now that the tunnel sloped slightly downward on the side facing away from the highway, and up on the highway side. The water layer gets deeper, up to my ankles when I decide to walk back. Took about 10 minutes, didn't go that far. Head back the next day, it's a weekend so nothing else to do. Still alone. Smell from tunnel number 2. Is still there. Let's go exploring in tunnel 1. Brought boots with me, so no need to worry about getting socks and shoes really wet. Get to where I was yesterday and keep trudging on. The water is literally about to go over the top of the boots. Look down at the water with a flashlight. Really nasty, little worms etc. remind me to clean my boots. Suddenly the tunnel goes uphill, leaving water behind. Keep walking, when lo and behold, a cat skull. Little ledge it's placed on, nothing weird near it, just a random ass cat skull on a shelf. Pick it up and it breaks apart. My bad. Walk for about 5 more minutes when the tunnel ends in a wall. Look around, no way around it, but there is a small little tunnel, about the right size for me to crawl through. Looks like it would lead to the other tunnel. Go through. No smell here, look around and see it leads to the exit, and continues going for an unknown distance in the other direction. Look down and see a possum skeleton at my feet. Jump in fright, get really weird feeling and start crawling through smaller tunnel. I'm crawling through at a moderate pace when I hear a distinct knock coming from the tunnel behind me. Oh shit. Haul ass. Hearing knocks the whole time. Make it through the tunnel and sprint through a larger one. Smell is here now, not as strong, but still present. Make it out. A week later. Weekend again. I decided to go to the right-hand tunnel. Not as scared now. Bring a hospital-style facial mask for smell. Also bring a little food and water, just granola bars and bottles of water. I get there, and walk in with face mask. Helps slightly, but still feel pretty bad. About 40 feet in, smell completely disappears. Gone entirely, like a wall was placed there. Goes downhill, like other tunnel, but no water there. Slopes up again, mirroring tunnel 1. When I reach where I was yesterday, can see the passageway tunnel. Keep going. When I hear the knock from yesterday, it sounds exactly the same. No freaking out this time. What's the worst could it be? I eventually reach a dead end like the one in the other tunnel. This one is different. To the left side, there is a door. A normal, wooden door. Nothing weird about it, besides its location. No lock on the door, either. I decided to turn the doorknob. As soon as I touch the door, there's a huge bang on the door, sounds like someone slamming into it. Step away, full on terrified now. Touch it once more. Loud ass scream right into my ear from my left, where the dead end is. Fuck this. Run back to exit. Really far, had to be at least a mile to the end. Sounds impossible I know, and I may be accidentally exaggerating, but it was huge I know. Get back to my house. After an adrenaline rush, calm down and resolve to go back in 2 weeks. 2 weeks comes, it's time. Get a flashlight, camera, food and a Swiss Army knife. And yes I know a Swiss Army knife is pretty pussy, but it's better than nothing I guess. Nothing weird happens until I reach the door. Put my hand on the doorknob and open it quickly, before any screams or knocks cause me to panic. Let me just say that out of everything I have ever done, the thing I regret most is opening that door. Girls I could have gotten with, friendships I could have saved, it all pales compared to opening that door. If you, God forbid, ever find yourself in a similar situation, don't do what I did. Please. Back to the story. Inside it's extremely dark. Unnaturally dark, and yes, I know that sounds cliché. Use a flashlight to illuminate. It's a dining room. The table is set, the room is clean, no dinner on the table. Nobody in the room, table in center. There is a light on the ceiling, so I grope for a switch and find one. Flip it and, surprisingly, it works. Was not expecting that. Walk inside. Notice the door leading to what I guess is another room. I hear, from behind the door, not shitting you, the voice of my mother. Sounds overly sweet. Time for dinner, honey. I say nothing. Would you come help me carry out the supper? Everything in me is going nope, but since I'm dumb, I mutely walk to the door and open it. I look in and vomit. Walls are blood-stained, floor is wet with blood. No light. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Walk in. Door slams behind me. Shit. The room is suddenly illuminated. There is blood everywhere, butchering machines, human bodies hung from the ceiling, bones in neat piles. Vomit again. My mother is standing with her back to me, humming and cutting something. I scream. She stops and turns around. The top of her face is normal, but the bottom half is gone. There is no skin there. Just muscle, almost Jeff the Killer or whatever style. She walks toward me. I'm just muttering no 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 under my breath. What's wrong? No no no. She freezes. She changes. It was like stepping out of a jumpsuit. Her skin and clothes fall to the ground. Just black flesh. Not flesh. It glistened. It was like fish scales and obsidian mixed together. It keeps the top half of her face on. It rushes over and grabs my leg. Burns through my pants, burns my leg. I passed out. I don't really remember the next 3 days. Some passing car saw me passed out on the sidewalk about an hour after whatever happened in the tunnel happened. Brought me to the hospital, treated for chemical burns, flame burns, and cuts all over my body. Something had cut strips of flesh from my body. The burns appeared to have been caused by a hot pan of some sort. I also had muscular damage in my legs, and I still walk with a limp today. That's pretty much it. No, I haven't gone back.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.